California foreclosure timeline. When Phil in my office got some calls about short sales a few days ago, I was like, wow, and amazing. I can't believe they may be coming back. I own upsidedownrealestate.com as the URL. I resurrected it last week. And if you go to it and you go to blogs, you click on a post, whatever, eventually you can type in foreclosure and you're going to see here. Let me bring it up actually. I'll do this so you can see me in the corner. So I right now have this is an amazing thing, but if you take the regular California foreclosure timeline and you add, and I did a video about it, you add the federal rule, you get 120 more days before a lender can even foreclose in California. And I'll tell you why that's a game changer in a few minutes. But the idea is you have 4 months. Now, in those 4 months, they can do the 30-day meet and confer in California. So maybe depending on when you knew about foreclosures, it's extended by 90 days. But off the normal California foreclosure timeline, you've got 4 months. And you can see what happens if you come down here and you get California timeline and how to extend it. I had 600 posts in here that I brought in from the old days. So there's a lot of information, but I made sure the site was very searchable. So here is a rundown of looking at it prospectively. Like at some point, if you were to stop paying your loans, this foreclosure period kicks in, the 120 days of delinquency. And then you have this 30-day, this is the California HB, or it's a law, 30-day meet and confer, but it should be, I'm sure the lenders will look at it as being in the 120. And then after that 120 days, they could start the foreclosure process in California, which if you did the math or you just kind of understood it, it's 90 days to cure the notice of default that they'll send you. And then there's a 21-day warning that they're going to sell it. And then there is the sale. And altogether, you have 234 days if you add it up. Now, that's just the beginning. There is more. If you were to take advantage of AB 2024, which I would use because I'm a broker and attorney, I wouldn't even have to call a realtor to get this done. It would be part of our workout package. If we time it right, anytime we want in there, we can let them know we're putting it on the market on the MLS, and the CRMLS qualifies. It's any major MLS, and the CRMLS is the largest one in the country. So you would put it on the CRMLS, and you get 45 days. Now, there's another 45 days available if you get a competitive offer that you submit. And I don't know how they're going to judge that. I'm sure that's a paraphrase, but I'm sure, they're going to have to review it. And I'm an attorney. I would make them review it. I'm an attorney and a broker. I'd be like, who are you to reject this in this market? Here's why. So I think we win 45 days more all the time, or we'll have to take them to court. But I expect to win because we have other levers. We've got RESPA requests. We can hammer them. But the point is one of the things here is, you'll notice if you went and searched on the CRMLS now, there's a significant amount of pre-approved short sales. So what happens is the lenders either want more money or it took them so long to approve, the buyers walked and bought something else. So one of the great things about working with investors would be is if they're interested in that price, you can say, look, this is going to take a few months. Are you still going to be here? And, if they'll say yes, great. Now, normally an investor will not make a good offer, and an aware investor won't make a good offer on a property in foreclosure because there's laws that give unrepresented sellers the right of redemption, which means they can come and buy the property back for 2 years. So no real investor who knows what they're doing is going to make an offer on that property. However, as a lawyer, you can certify that seller to be well advised of their rights, and then the investor doesn't have that risk. So if you're working with an attorney, you can get almost every time. You don't have to just wait for an offer on the MLS. You can go to the pool of real buyers that are afraid to make offers, make them real, get yourself another 45 days. So now you're at 234 and 90, which we could call it 334 minus 10, which would be 324. You're at just about a year, because I also think that the short sale process is rarely going to be done very quickly the first time. It's usually going to take months. So you're looking at a year if you at a max. Could you hit the year? I would, if the bank didn't want to play game, if the bank was like, we're not playing games, we're marching to a foreclosure, I don't think you could get to a year because you'd want to be safe. So maybe you can say to yourself, I have 10 months minimum if my bank is really plays hardball and I want to be safe, but I most likely can get it out over a year with someone who knows how to time it well and can actually make the bank pay attention to the rules. Because one of the other rules we have as part of that meet and confer HBOR process is they're not allowed to run a foreclosure concurrently. Like back in the old days, and I benefited from this, I would tell people, like I only got paid to do 4 loan mods because we learned that there was not a good ratio of them making good offers, and it almost seemed random for a while. And I was like, I don't want to charge you for these random results, but I'll coach you on how to do them. And if you really want it, great. If not, you can work with us on a walkaway package or a short sale, whatever, or a short payoff, a deed in lieu. Like these are things that we've done. I think in certain circumstances they'll work, but I'd like to give everyone, at one point I was calling it 7 bites of the apple, because I'd say your loan mod might not work. Your short payoff it would be called a short pay or, a principal reduction. They work very well in the beginning. We got loan mods done in the beginning. We got short pays in the beginning for 10, 20 cents on the dollar. So in the very beginning, like 5 cents on the dollar. We could compromise seconds, but they were getting more expensive. So as the time went by, we were like, well, deed in lieu worked for a while. And then the banks were like, well, we look at his deed in lieu the same as a short sale. So I was like, well, if you're going to do a deed in lieu or you're going to do a short sale, what does the client want more in their record? So it was like, and we were adapting to the bank's policies, but we were taking the best, we were synchronizing it, we were taking the best bites, and we're really doing the best by the client. So that's something that you would want to consider. 30 or 40% of realtor negotiated short sales succeed. So you're going to need a backup plan. Like, are you good for a foreclosure? Should you be doing a deed in lieu? And I would say for a lot of people who don't want to show their assets or have assets to protect, you should be doing a short sale or deed in lieu without showing your assets. You're going to need a lawyer for that 99.99% of the time who can leverage the law, because the regular first round of the mitigation departments, they're going to reject that idea. But you got to get to the legal department. So you just straight up, there's a good chance, unless you're an exception, if you were to stop paying today, you've got 234 days before they're going to kick you out of the house, and there's ways to extend it. With an attorney, there's ways to extend it even more. And with an attorney, because this is so onerous, like, can you imagine the workouts we're going to succeed with for our clients in this round? Because I'll be able to say, look, I'm a broker and attorney. This is what the house is worth. If we do this, you're getting this house worth right now. This is the value. I can get an appraiser if you care, if you don't want to accept my number, but here's the comps, here's the house, this is the value. If you wait a year from now, with the market the way it's going, and short sales where they are, 653, prices are likely down unless the Fed does something drastic with interest rates. And we know they're unlikely to do that, holding everything else the same. I was an econ major, with Trump there. That you and I both know they're not going to drop them real low to help Trump and his administration, because then they're going to get more Republicans, and Democrats and banks usually been together for decades. So if you're reading the tea leaves, you're like, absent wars or some crazy things and they're having to drop interest rates, this housing market is probably going to go down. So like, you can do this now with our clients and do it without harming their credit. Do it with saying they're settled in full. It's not even settled. It's you're paid in full. Or, you're going to get this property back. You're going to get about a year later from now. That's going to be 12 months of payments your investor is going to miss. And there's going to be likely a renter in there, because my client doesn't want to waste the property. But to get a renter in there when a house is in foreclosure, we're going to have to give it a below market rent. And then I'm saying, and good luck getting a below market, an unlawful detainer on a below market rent in California. I mean, you're looking at cash for keys. You're looking at a nightmare. So let's just do this deal. Here's why. Here's why your people reviewing this file in some other state don't understand that my client has no fear of the bank afterwards, no fear of taxes. So really, this whole negotiation is how much leverage I can gain to minimize the risk to their credit. So you're going to get this property back, and it's just, do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it later? So, there's so many ways to leverage this tremendous timeline, that really you have two choices. You can do a default, or you can plan for a strategic default and a loan workout, which could involve short sale. And the other thing I just say is that if you have some equity, but you're not upside down, make sure that you do not sign a listing agreement that the realtor presents you. Have an addendum in there that says, I can get out of this listing agreement at any time with 24-hour notice. Because you don't want your lender, if you're doing a short sale, to submit a listing agreement that could expire or did expire or is only for 24 hours. They need to see something that's a long time, because you don't want it to expire while it's in at the lender. I'm giving away some of the most important tips for realtors. But as a seller, I'm telling you, if you don't like the terms that the banks had, you pull the property off the market. You say, I'm not selling now. Good luck. You're going to get back in a year. Goodbye. Or 9 months, whatever the right is. And sometimes they'll come back. But you're not going to have that flexibility if you signed a listing agreement for another 6 months to a year, and they're going to tell you need to do that. Like an experienced short sale, someone who's negotiated short sales who's just a realtor is going to say, that's all they have. The only way they get paid is to do a short sale. And, where if you're working with an attorney, we're allowed to get paid to do other loan workouts. So we can help you set up the short sale well with a good deed in lieu to start. With walk-away plan as a backup, a short payoff. Like if you got 2 loans, we're going to negotiate with your second before we ever let you go into default on your first. I mean, there's just so much, a lot to learn. It's all going to be here at UpsideDownRealEstate.com on my channel. It's already there at my website. If you'd like to talk with us, we have, if you go to, let's see, will that even work if I type in, like right now, I got to make this better, but I know where one of it is. If you go to strategy session and you are like, it'd be a waste of our time. I'd rather just do a video if you don't want to talk to us about your position. Like, I want to know, do you have recourse or non-recourse loans? How many loans do you have? What do you think the value of your property is of your house? All things you need to do anyway. But if you're willing to do that before we talk, I'll give you we'll talk for free, because I believe only some of you should be doing short sales, or certainly only some of you should be doing short sales immediately. Some of you shouldn't go short at all. You should not pay the bank. There's so many options, and I'd like you to have the best results. I'll share them with you, and then you might choose to work with us on some of these, because, frankly, where else would you go? We've done hundreds of short sales. If you include Phil in my office, we've done over 600 over 450 short sales. I'm not quite sure. Phil's 400. They weren't all short sales. Phil's over 400 now, but that's why I was a little bit wrong on his numbers. I know how many I've done. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of clients. But this is back in the day, mostly with short payoffs, with walkaway plans, some loan mods. I've helped dozens and dozens of people. I only charge 4. It's just, I have no doubt that this analogy is true. You've got a toolbox. If you only have a hammer, you're going to use a hammer. If you have an entire toolbox, you're going to use the right tool for the right job. And you're going to have a good plan. You're going to have a blueprint, and you're going to construct the house properly. My name is John McConnon. I am a broker attorney, and you can find more at UpsideDownRealEstate.com. But right now, I'm in the middle of making the video series on YouTube. Sometimes they'll be at listingattorney.com, and sometimes they'll be at the new channel, UpsideDownRealEstate.com, or the newly renamed channel, Upside